Welcome to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is a global vitiligo awareness and education podcast. You will hear the true and authentic stories from people living with vitiligo. You'll also hear from their loved ones, medical professionals, licensed mental health therapists, relationship counselors, global vitiligo support foundations and organizations, and so much more. Sit back and enjoy living life and love with vitiligo. Once again, I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Welcome to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. On today's show, I have Kameca Carter. Welcome to the show, Kameca.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So before we jump into our conversation, I explained to the listeners where this conversation came from. I want you to officially introduce yourself and tell our listeners anything you want to say.
Oh, okay. My name is Kameca Carter. Formerly used to be Kameca Blow. I am divorced. Been a divorcee for 3 years now, almost 4. Um, I am 47. I have 3 children. Kyron, who's 25, Elijah, who is 16, and Faith, who is 15. Um, I'm just a regular girl. I love life. I love to cut up. I like to have fun. Um, I love people. I am IIA at Foxborough Elementary School. I work with children. I've been working with children ever since 2012, and I'm also about to get married next month. So
Don't tell it all. Don't tell it all. We're gonna get there. but no.
but yeah, that's just the gist of everything.
Good.
Yeah, I'm
All
just an all around girl. Just like to have fun and enjoy life, living, traveling, being with my family, going to church, and just having a good time.
Absolutely. So for our viewers and listeners, this conversation's actually started in the break room at our school. We work at the same school,
Yes.
and we got on the topic of dating and relationships. And once I found out that you were getting married, I was like, oh, okay, let me ask some questions about that. Because as we know, starting over after divorce is not always easy.
No,
You
it
know,
isn't.
it is very challenging, and I say that because I'm also divorced and
Hmm.
trying to get to where you're going. It's not an easy road to travel. You get
Definitely.
those bumps and bruises, and sometimes you want to give up. So let's jump onto that. Let's talk a little
Okay.
bit about starting over after divorce, and what has that been like for you leading up to about to get married.
Okay. Um, just like I stated earlier, I think I'm going into 4 years of being a divorce, and I was in a 14-year marriage. Now, mind you, I grew up in church, and you always told, wait on God, pray, the Lord is going to send you a husband. And they use the scripture, a man that findeth a wife, findeth a good thing, and he obtaineth favor from the Lord. Okay. So, and mind you, I had a child out of wedlock. I'm a PK, so that was always already a strike
That
against me because,
taboo, right?
yeah, oh, you had a baby
Ooh.
out of wedlock. Oh God, you're going to hell. All that. Coming from a strict religious background, that that played on my conscience as well, because I'm
Right.
looking for a particular guy. He has to be this way. And so my mindset is, okay, if he's not in church, if he's not like this, XYZ, oh, he is not the one. So in my mind, okay, after I had my son, I went through a period of just being in church, seeking God, and I wanted a husband. And so at this particular time, I prayed and I asked God to give me a husband. And then my ex-husband came into my life, and we were dating. We dated a year. Mind you, we dated a year. And then he proposed to me in church during a
Mm.
marriage
He,
conference.
he set you up.
Yeah, in church at a marriage conference. Mind you, I didn't know him. We had not had intercourse. We did everything per se by the book.
Right.
He didn't know me to my wedding night. So I'm thinking, oh, I have struck gold. This is going to be the bomb. I did it the God's way. Not saying that God's way is not right. Mind you, I'm not, you
Right.
know,
Right.
going against religion or beliefs that other people have, but I'm just saying what I did for me and what happened in my situation.
Right.
So, after that, we got married, and mind you, I didn't know this guy. We dated, but living with him,
Right.
learning him, and seeing like, oh my God, what in the world? Like, Jesus Christ, like, who is this person? Oh Lord, it was good for a first couple of months. Then it was like, oh my God, I had married Satan. And it's
Wow.
like, what in the world? We clash. And then I'm not saying that we didn't have some good days in our marriage, because we
Right.
did, but we allow other people, the church, to infiltrate into our marriage, which also brought discord. And that's why I say that when you're married, it's you and that person.
Absolutely.
Please do not include your pastor. I don't care if they are your leader, but when you said a man and wife leave their house and they cleave to one another, your husband and your wife, y'all together. So
Right.
therefore, any outside people don't matter.
That includes your mama and your daddy and your
Your
cousins
mama,
too.
your daddy, and them, your best friend and them,
Yeah.
all of them, because everybody's opinion does not matter in your marriage.
Right. And you know what I find? People are going to give you advice based on their relationships.
True.
They're not you. That's and I get people sometimes come from a a genuine place to say, well, we did it this way. Why don't you try
Hmm.
it this way? But guess what? They're not. I'm not married to your spouse, and vice versa.
Right.
Like you got to know the
You're
person you're dealing
different.
with, and it is
Exactly.
different. The approach has to be different.
It has to be very much different. But just rolling forward quicker. We in that time we had two beautiful children, which he gave me a son and a daughter. And I could say that was the blessing in our marriage, our
Right.
kids. We were married for 14 years. We separated the first time, and then we tried to make it work again the second time, and it just didn't work.
Been there.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You try because first you're doing it because you gotta look. Relationship is hard. You got to
Yeah.
learn a person all over again. You got to go through the whole like learning people, and it was like, listen, I already know you. Okay, let's see, can we make it work? But the thing that I found out, that you can't make no one love you.
You can't.
You can't make people love you, and if it's gone, it's just gone.
Yeah.
If the fire is out, it's out. I don't care what you try to conjure up, because what I found out, you're going to end up miserable. You're going to end up doing and saying things that you should not do or want to do, and which is going to make it worse on your family and yourself. So the best thing for you to do is come to terms with each other. Agree to disagree. Say, listen, this is not working. I'm gonna go my way. You go yours. Pretty much.
Right. Right.
That's how it is. And that's the thing. Do not stay in a situation, a marriage, because of children.
Ooh. Okay. Let me look over here. Hold on. I thought I heard some voices or something.
Yeah. And
That's the
that's the
truth.
thing now. People, especially church folk, because
Yeah.
I'm a PK, I'm a churchy girl. We are taught to, pray, God's gonna work out your marriage, and just trust God, keep him before the Lord. And you keep him before the Lord, things ain't look, reality, it's not working.
Right.
And your kids are seeing you go through the motions, and you're not showing them to be real at all,
Right.
because you showing them, oh, my mama lived a lie, oh, they stay together but they didn't sleep in the same bed. you
Right.
know they pretend, and these kids from this generation, they ain't crazy. They gonna pick up on that drop of a
Absolutely.
dime. You know what I'm saying? They
Absolutely.
gonna know. So we end up just going, and I tried, and I was the one who wanted to work. I pursued him. Okay, come on, honey, let's work this out. Listen, but one day something up here clicked and said, listen, he don't love you like that.
Right.
You are better than this. I changed myself. I gained weight, lost weight, grew my hair, cut my hair,
Right.
changed my whole wardrobe just to appease him, to see would he even be attracted to me again.
Right.
But I had to come to the realization that, listen, it ain't me. This is him. It's him. And I had to wake up and say, you know what? I'm better than this. I know who I am. I know whose I am. I'm a nice looking woman. I got a good head on my shoulders. I was a good wife. I did everything that I supposed to do. So now I'm gonna shake the dust from my feet and I'm leaving. I told him, I said, listen, I gave you all the opportunity to try to work it out. It ain't working. Oh, he was like, well, why are you leaving? Who talking to you? Who's telling you this? But he wanted to string me along. Some men like that. They
Yeah.
don't want you, but they'll, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but I'm
Oh
just
no,
saying in
no.
my situation, like some people, even men and women, all in all, they like the feel of just having somebody there.
Yeah.
They don't want the relationship, but just because you're there and they can come back and forth when they want to see you, but really their desire is not to be with you, but just to have you, that person right there, to be that pillar or whatever. I don't know what it is, but
Well, I can tell you what it is. We're stingy. As people, we're stingy.
yeah,
We may not want you, but we don't want anybody else to
somebody
want you.
else to have it.
And
Yeah.
and if somebody else has an opportunity, we're gonna mess that up. Because
Uh-huh.
that's when they come back
I
with that whole
see.
thing of, I love you. And
Mhm.
look, let me say
Mhm.
this, and we're gonna continue with your story in a
Yeah.
minute. Love is one of those things that people use to keep you. We say
Mm,
it often. I love you. I love you. I love you. We say it to anybody. We tell strangers, I
absolutely.
love you. But there's
Right.
a difference between loving me and being in love with me. And I think
Right.
we get into those relationships where we might love the person,
Mhm.
but we're not in love. You
We're not
know,
in love.
when you are in love with a person, you're willing to compromise. You're going to
Yes.
respect that person. You're going to value that person. You're going to be able to see when that person's hurting and
Mhm.
try to figure out how can we work this out.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and attraction, that attraction is real for men and women.
Yeah.
Like we go through those phases of, well, my spouse or my significant other is not giving me attention. They're giving it to somebody else, obviously,
Right.
then. But what
Yeah.
about me? Let me get a new shirt, let me get a haircut,
Yeah.
shave. And then you realize that's not working. And like you said, the intimacy is not working. It's just an act now. It's not even,
Or none at all.
oh yeah, it's either none at all or just it's one of those. All right, we're done. All right, it's
Yeah.
nothing special anymore. And
Nothing.
really, when you get to that part in a relationship, it's over.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty much done.
like you said, the church and people will tell you work out your marriage, you'll figure it out. But you can't work out something that's fallen apart or already
Yeah.
has fallen apart.
Yeah. It
If
takes two.
Yeah, it takes two.
I can't do it by myself. You got to want to be back
Right,
together. I mean, I don't care how much I pray, but if this is not their
right.
desire, it's not going to work. The Bible even speaks that how can two walk together except they agree? You got to agree on something for or
Right.
something you try to work out.
And here's the key. Here's something else. Sometimes we think we're following what God has said. Oh, I found someone. God sent this
Mm-hmm.
person to me.
Mm,
Sometimes that's not the person you're supposed to be with.
no
That come
counterfeit.
that yeah, that pretender, that counterfeit, that fool's gold shows up, and
Uh-huh.
you go, oh yeah, I found the one. Well, which one? There's many ones out there.
Uh-huh.
And you can pray all day, but it's that I feel it's that feeling inside that you get when you know you truly have a genuine person. If you
Mm-hmm.
have to second guess at any point, maybe that person's not the one for you. If you have
No.
any inkling of, I don't know, it's not going to work. And what I've discovered in my journey, just because they look nice, they smell nice, got all the attributes you want and all the stuff, it doesn't mean you need to be with that person.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes you're just made to be associates and nothing more.
Nothing
Not
more.
not even friends, and we'll get to friendships later, but not even
Yeah.
friends because that's a word we use lightly.
Lightly.
Let's be friends. what does that mean? And I never
Right.
hear from you again. That's not a friend, you know.
Mm-mm.
Um, so after going through all this, you know, what were your after divorce? Like, what were your thoughts then? Did you just kind of say, you know what, I give up, or I'm gonna try again, or
Man, listen, I this thing come up and up, excuse me. Uh Not only the same month that I got the papers because because how I felt was, listen, you gonna pay for divorce.
yeah,
I'm not paying for it because I'm not the one that left. You did. So I
yeah,
think that you need to pay for it. But now on top, when I got the papers, that's the same month I lost my dad. So
yeah,
it was really depressing
right,
because I lost my dad and then I got the divorce. Even though I left, but just the fact that it was really done,
right,
it
right,
just hit me. And so I had to heal from that. I had, and dealing with that, I already was dealing with rejection from
yeah,
him. So rejection, depression, oppression, all of that was just in that whole year, 21, because I left in 2020. So 2021 was a year I had to really reintroduce myself to myself again.
yeah,
I had to do a lot of self love because I have been broken and torn down in my marriage. So trying to rebuild, trying to trust, and then a guy walk up to me, oh, I take off, gone, because it's like, all men dogs, in
yeah,
my mind, because that was a mirror of my hurt of what I went
right,
through my marriage. So all men are enemies right now. I don't want to talk to a man. I don't want a man to even look at me, tell me anything, because at that point I was like, you know what? It's me and my kids. I'm just trying to rebuild, get my life together, work, and just do me. And that's where I
right,
was. And I think about for 3 years. In that 3 year, I think I probably went on like 2 or 3 dates, and they was dolls because the only thing they wanted was sex.
yeah,
They had no everything. They portray a certain way, but when you get them, they get you to where they want you. They treat you out. Then they want to rub and touch
right.
and let's go to no. Then I had one to say he was a minister. Then you talking about let's go to my. Oh no, you
Yeah, he was a minister. He was trying to lay
preacher.
hands,
He sure was.
trying to get that holy oil, lay hands
You're
on it.
right. Satan. I was like, and that's the thing, when
Vulnerable, yes,
you're
yes,
vulnerable. It seems like the enemy knows. It seems like everything that you don't need will come to you
right,
in your vulnerable state. And that's when I really had to focus, pray, ask God to keep my mind, because I didn't mention that through before my the first time we broke up, I almost committed suicide.
um,
I
right,
almost committed suicide, and he left me and the kids, and I felt like I was absolutely nothing.
yeah,
And it scared me because the reason that stopped me from taking those pills, because I just had surgery and he left. The only thing that stopped me was my son. He ran in there and told me that he loved me and he gave me a
right,
hug. I broke down and I grabbed my son and I just boohooed and cried.
yeah,
And I was like, you know what? I gotta live.
right,
I
right,
gotta live for them.
right,
You know what I'm saying? Because
absolutely,
if I take my life, who's gonna be here to take care
right,
of them? God knows what their daddy doing, but hey, I need to be here for my kids.
right.
But fast forward, here's the sunshine. So,
Can I,
uh,
let me stop you real
okay,
quick before we get to the sunshine.
okay,
I do want to say this to people that are going through challenges, and I'm gonna say men and women because divorce hits everyone hard in so
yeah,
many different ways,
yeah,
and you got to seek help. And a lot of times we're afraid to do that. I was afraid to go for help, but I
mhm,
did. Now, let me tell you what happened. And we're gonna get to the sunshine, but let me tell you what, I was right down the street, Capitol Boulevard. It's come from teaching an
yeah.
art class, and I was at the light and saw this sign that says, "Divorced? Do you need help?" I looked at the sign. I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Let me keep driving." Next day, I'm at the same stop sign, that and that stop light, and that sign kept speaking to me like, do you need help? And I was like, man, I need some help. So I called the number, and they was like, yeah, come on in. It's for divorce care.
Mm-hmm.
So they said, come on in, and we'll take care of you. I pulled up, pulled into the parking lot, and took off. I was like, nope, can't do it. Then finally, I went and I walked in because I said, I need help, but I don't know. I was scared. I ain't gonna front. I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I needed help. I knew I was going through a lot. One of my friends, I knew I was angry. Um, I walked in and I started thinking. I said, wait a minute, all these people in here for divorce? It
Mm-hmm.
was crowded. I was like, I don't feel too bad because everybody here going through the same situation.
Yeah.
That program was so good for me. I went through it 3 times. You only had to go through it once. I went through it 3 times. I was like, yo, what is the next
Three
meeting?
times a charm. You
Look,
got what you needed.
and then they had one for kids, like to take care
Oh
of
wow.
kids. So I started working with that program. So I worked with them for about 3 years also, helping kids going through separation and divorce. And I was like,
Wow.
this is my healing journey. So what I'm saying to people out there, when you're going through these struggles, and I'm gonna say men struggle too in situations. Men
I
have
believe it.
emotions, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we do take those drastic measures as well. Get
Mm-hmm.
help, get support. It's out there. And I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes the church is not the support you need. Sometimes you're gonna have to go to outside organizations because
Mm-hmm.
even though this program was through a church, there was some moments when they try to make you feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in situations around women. I live on a
Mm-hmm.
planet full of women. Where am I supposed to go? Like, if I go out to eat, there's some ladies right there.
Right.
The hostess and the waitress. I go to school. I sit at work at a school full of women. I'm sitting there going, this doesn't make sense. Like,
Makes
what, I'm
sense.
supposed to just stay in the house
To be a hermit.
and not see anybody at all, people? But I just say, get the help you need. Please talk to the
Yeah.
right people, the right sources, and get the help because that is going to help you along on your journey.
Yeah. That is true. Now, I didn't say because I'm trying to get everything in, but we did go to get counseling.
Oh,
We did.
I did
But
too.
the thing about it is both of us together. But he portrayed that because I went first, that I done conjured up,
Mhm.
made a facade to these counselor to the counselor that he was a problem and this
Right,
is but the man was telling him, he's like, no, he said, I don't judge. I have to be neutral in this
right,
situation. My job is to bring a balance, to get y'all to come together to terms to see what can we do to make this marriage work.
right,
But he was so against it. He just had his mind made up that, oh, they're taking my side because they was allowing him to see his demons, his
right,
wrong.
right.
And they was pointing out like, this is what you did. This is what you shouldn't have done. And he just completely stopped.
Yeah,
So sometimes when you go to counseling, it's going to show you the man in the mirror, you.
right. And you have to put your ego aside and your pride
Exactly.
aside and be open to it. Right,
Exactly. You really do, because I saw some areas where I could have done some things differently. Even though I was in that victim mentality because of that, but I saw some things that I did in the marriage that I could have changed. But he was, far as what he did, you know, he didn't want to accept the fact
right,
that he did these things and that, oh, I planted a seed in those guys and they're against
mhm,
him and they're not working out. So I don't want to do counseling anymore. It's whatever. So I was like, okay. So, you know, but yeah. And also through this, get you a tribe, your soul tribe, people that you know that's gonna encourage and
right,
build you while you're going through.
right,
You can't do it by yourself. I promise you. It's a lonely walk, even though you still hurt and you have those feelings and you cry, but just have people available like your friends. I had my best friend and she witnessed a lot of things that I went through in my marriage because she came and spent the summer with me. Um and she seen the good, bad, and ugly, and she saw face value the treatment
Right.
that how I was being treated. And so she saw me, I had lost a bunch of weight. I was depressed, but she had to undergird me and be there for me when I couldn't be there for myself, you know. And so she was like, one day we was in the house that night, and he told me he was leaving me. I just paid my portion, like I just got the rent. We had went through a hard time, just got all the rent up, put the money in the mailbox. And I lie to you not. I'm not a murderer, I'm not a killer, but this is to help somebody. I lost it. My mind just snapped.
Mm-hmm.
He was laying in the bed, and I lie to you not. This is, I'm not trying to make this religious, but this is how God will cover you and keep you, especially when you're in the right. Um, he was laying down in the bed, and he told me he was leaving me. He said, if you get the money up, whatever, I ain't gonna leave, but whatever, pay the rent. My homegirl gave me the money. We came up with it, paid the rent. And he said, I'm still leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw red.
Right.
My friend was like, to this, she'll tell you, I would sit on the bed in the abyss, just rocking back and forth. Like I was gone.
Yeah.
So that night he was laying in the bed. Back in the day, like they do in the jail cell, hose hanger. This is seriously, y'all. It'll take you there
It will. Yeah.
if you allow it to. But I thank God for a strong friendship system that I had. That she was sensitive enough to hear, go check on Mika.
Right.
She knocked to the door. Never came to my bedroom door before, and he was like knocked out, snoring sleep, that sound sleep, and tears. I'm contemplating the devil in way, like go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
get him. And I'm like, yeah. And she, Mika, I said, oh, voice trembling because I'm crying, debating in my mind what I'm gonna do. She said, come here. And I walked out. I had a clothes hanger in my hand, and I just broke down in her arms, and she just grabbed me. She said, the Lord told me to come in here and get you. She said, I ain't know what it was. I said, I was about to kill him.
Yeah.
And she said, get up, get the kids packed, get your bag. We going to Greenville. You come stay at my house. And that's what I did. I was left because I had to get my mind,
Right.
because my mind snapped for a minute. It did. It did. And I felt bad because I allowed that situation to take me that far, but I ain't no killer, y'all. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't have a
She's
criminal
good.
record.
Yeah.
I don't have
She's
no
good.
criminal
So.
record. I work in the school system. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they do criminal
But
background checks.
but it's a real thing though. When you are going through stuff, people will
This was
snap.
traumatic.
Yeah.
This was
And
very traumatic for me.
right. When you're playing with emotions and playing with somebody's
Yes.
mind and all that, people can lose it. And sometimes we don't understand why people do certain things.
Yeah.
But when you start looking at the history of what was going on, what transpired, whether it's at work or at home, whatever, people can snap.
Yeah,
And
but for the sake of my children and for the sake of him, I'm gonna respect. I'm not gonna go in details of what he done.
no, you don't have to.
But yeah, I'm not, because even though he's still the father of my kids, and he's still attached to me in that way because we do have kids together, but I will not expose his business or his life. But at the same time, it that really took me
Yeah.
for a loop, and it got me to the point where I really wanted to take his life, because my thing is, you asked for my hand in marriage.
Yeah.
I had a miscarriage with our first child, and then God blessed us with our miracle son Elijah, which was going through the same problems with the miscarriage, and God allowed him to be born. And then 6 months later, I was impregnated again with my daughter Faith. So they're a year apart, born in the
Right.
same month in November. So it's like I didn't come for you. You came for me.
Right.
So you put me all through this.
Yeah.
I'm about to lose my mind. All these hardships, and it was just a lot going on. Everything that's going through my mind, like, I didn't ask for this. I was perfectly fine. But you came for me.
Right. And but that happens. Like I mentioned, people will come into your life all the time, all the time. Different people in and out, whether it's out on the street, whether you're going into virtual dating or online dating or whatever.
Oh yeah, we
People
need to talk
always
about
gonna,
that.
well, yeah, that might be a whole nother story, but
Right, true.
um, but you have to have that discernment of
Yeah,
if this is really gonna work. But sometimes we do get fooled. That happens. But once you get through that healing process from the past and you start working on yourself, then some doors start opening. You start to
yeah.
see other prospects and
Hmm.
hmm, this this is not all bad. The past was the past. The past has molded you into who you are now. But
Hmm.
now let's talk about what's happening with your future.
What's happening with my future? Okay, the sunshine part now. Um, Last year around this time, fall. Mind you, I told you I had a child out of wedlock. And that's my oldest. His name is Tyron. He's 25. And his dad and I were high school sweethearts. I met him in the ninth grade. He was in the 10th grade. And we dated for like 8 years. And then we was so in love. He was my first, lost my virginity to him, everything. We dated, went to high school prom and all that. And you young, we was in our 20s. Then
Right.
he went his way, I went mine. And then we came back together and I end up having a child by him. And so it was rocky in that relationship because I hated him because I was like, I thought you loved me and this, that, and the other, whatever. And I was going through a hard time in my childhood, family and stuff. So he always promised me that he was going to take me away from all that drama. And so after that, we separated, we grew up, and here, years later, I'm 47. He's 40. Yeah, I'm 47. He about to be 49 in January. So he came to me, he called me, he was like, Mika, you want to go on a date? This Steve, it ain't no strings attached. I just want to take you out. And so he took me out and we talked. And he told me, he said, listen, I just want to let you know that I am sorry for how I treated you when we were younger. He said, I was young, dumb, and stupid. I was afraid. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. He had uh, a baby by me and somebody else. He was just scared. He just didn't know what to do.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, you know what? Karen is 25. 25 years later, I done been married.
Right. A lot has happened in 25.
A
Yeah.
lot of you know what I'm saying? Things happen. So I'm like, hey, it's I forgive you.
Yeah.
And it's all good. And we kept it as that. And I was thinking like, okay, cool. Um, and went silent for a few weeks or months or so. And then he called me in November. Let me back up. Yeah, when we went out, it was earlier that year. It was like in like the spring or whatever, earlier part of the year. And then he called me around October, November, and we went out again when I was in Raleigh, and he took me out, and he came back to the house, and he was like, I'm 48 years old. I done done everything that I possibly could do, and I'm ready to settle down. And you know, what you think about me and you trying to work things out again? And my thing was triggers, trauma came out. Listen,
Right.
are you done?
Right.
Because I know how you was back then, but are you done? He was like, what do you mean? He's like, I ain't got time to be. I was like, listen, there's some 48-year-old cats out here still trying to be a player.
Right.
Still trying to thinking that they're about 25 and they're old and trying to be dog women out. So I was like, are you done? And he was like, yes. He said, I'm ready to settle down and stuff. I said, well, what we gonna do? I'll give you another chance, but we're gonna take baby steps. I don't want to go too fast.
Right.
And I'll say, well, you already know I'm in church and I ain't about that. He was like, yeah, I already know. I know how you are about that, your religion and all that. I was like, okay, as long as you know. And we dated, went out. He came down because he worked a lot. He do long hours. He worked at a chemical plant. So every time he got off, he would come down and see me. Now, mind you, he's an hour and a half
Mm,
from Raleigh.
right.
But this how, when you compromise and when you know somebody really wants to work out things, they'll go the extra mile.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he came faithfully every other day. If it weren't every other day, he came every day. He respected my house. He slept in the couch in the den because my daughter was there, different things like that. We did everything right. And,
Right.
he came and, just it just blossomed into something. And then before we knew it, things start moving quick. And it's like we picked up where we left off.
Right.
And it just started working. And um now we are engaged to get married, and we're having our wedding in December
Right.
of this year, December 21st. And like when you know that someone's for you, it don't take you 3 and 4 years or two
No, it
and
doesn't.
3 years. Oh, we're gonna wait. No, if you already established and got your ducks in a row, if what you want is in front of you and y'all in agreement, it don't take time to just go ahead and do what you got to do
Right.
if you know it's right.
And that's one of the things I see a lot of times. We'll put a time frame on
Mhm.
everything instead of letting love progress naturally.
Mhm.
And we did a lot of that when we were young, you know.
Yeah.
And I would say young and dumb because we've all encountered good people, and sometimes we've made mistakes. Sometimes we, let that person go. You look at them, look at that person
Mhm.
now, you're like,
Mhm.
dang, I messed up. Or
Right.
sometimes you say, I dodged a bullet.
Right.
You got to
Yeah.
look at either way, but love is different. Love is what it is, and it can hit you at the most inopportune moment or at the
Right.
opportune moment.
Right.
Like you could be walking down the street and meet somebody and never
Right.
see that person again. 10 years later, you run into that person and y'all may connect,
Right.
but you have to be open to it because
Exactly.
if you were closed and you looked at the past and only thought about the past, this
Mhm.
couldn't be because you'll be so
Right.
focused on, well,
Right.
back in the days he did this. And I
Mhm.
always say people change.
People do
You
change.
know, we tend to think people can't change. We say that all the time.
Right.
They didn't change. Well, sometimes maybe they didn't change for you. They might change for somebody else or change for
Mhm.
themselves or for a
Right.
situation.
Right.
But if somebody really cares about you and really loves you, they're gonna compromise and work on things and show you that they're truly ready or interested.
Exactly. And just like, a lot of people in my world of church would say, "Oh, he's different. He's not the typical guy that I would talk to, or a guy that I need to talk to because of my walk with God, or I'm in church, or my religion." But sometimes it's okay to accept people for who they are.
Right,
And if they decide to change, let it be them to change. I love him for who he is. I didn't love him for his belief in God, or his religious thing. Yes, I want him to go to church with me. But
right,
the thing about it is, because of the love that he has for me and the love that I have for him, to accept him with his flaws, or with the things that he don't believe like I believe, that the love that he has for me, he's willing to compromise
right,
and come to church with me when he's off. And sometimes, and he's beginning to see things in a different light. We pray together. Sometimes we read the word or we talk about the word. But that's the thing, is being open
hmm
and allowing a person to grow. And that's what relationship, you grow together
right,
and allow the person. And that's the thing, you don't beat a person up and say, I need you to believe in God, I need you to go to church, i need you to I need you to do XYZ, because if you don't, it ain't gonna work.
that
And
man
that's
gonna run
not.
the other way.
But you know what? But people put God in a box and make him like he's a monster.
Right, right,
And God is love.
right,
And if I can't love you for who you are, then how are you going to want my God?
right,
Because I'm not portraying God-like qualities or
right,
tendencies. I'm not being like God when I'm bashing you, telling you what you're not and what you can and what you need to do. That ain't God. What he did, he walked in the earth and he demonstrated and he showed who he was. And by that way, he gained followers because they saw his light.
Right.
And that's how you compel people, just not religion, but in anything that you do.
And you know what? And I often say this when we're talking about Jesus and his walk, he didn't go to people like him. His friends were totally different
Sinners.
as Peter. So, wow, you know, like I'm just saying that he did not choose people like him. And sometimes it takes your walk to change somebody else. Not that you're changing them, but you watch somebody that you are dating after over time,
Hmm.
if it's genuine, you'll start to see a shaping or a molding of who they
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
and it's got to compliment you, you know, and vice
Hmm.
versa. You've got to compliment them, and Bill,
Right.
both of you got to be authentic, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. And I see bits and pieces pulling away of himself, and like even like certain things he says, like, "Oh, I'm sorry," just the respect or whatever. But my thing is, I accepted him for who he is,
Right,
and I think that's why I believe that it's gonna work because sometimes you gotta agree to disagree, and I gotta hear him out. Yeah, sometimes I want him to be with me every time I walk through the church doors, but I know that life is life, and he has to work one,
right.
and his time at work supersedes the time that he can be in church. But when he can and when he's off, he will come. But then I have to understand that you know you accept this man for who he was. So therefore, I cannot sit here and condemn and beat him upside the head because he don't want to go to church today because he don't work seven
Right.
days and he's off and he just want to be home.
And think about this. And when he gets home with you, that can be your church.
That's good
You know, a lot of
ministry.
times people associate church with the building,
The building, but no,
but it's so much more than that. This could be the
it
church right
is.
here, you
It
know?
is. It is. And that's why I say sometimes we are the only Bible that somebody will ever see
Right, right,
by the life that we live. So he's a nice person. I really love him. He's giving, he's caring. And he's very mild. He's very mild. He don't rev up. He's not a loud person. He's an introvert. I'm an extrovert. I'm just I talk to everybody. I don't meet a
right.
stranger. And he was like, even with the wedding thing, he do not want to be in the forefront. He's like, I don't want people looking at me.
I
Ain't
feel
nobody gonna
them.
look at you. They're gonna be looking
Yeah,
at me. I'll be getting up. They there for me. But no, seriously. But I was like, and so that's one thing I had to compromise with. I
right,
want this extravagant. I want everybody to see it because it's like, yeah, I've been married before, but this is my high school sweetheart. We went
right,
to the
right,
prom together. This is my first son's father. I want the world to know that love is real. That people like, oh, you know, second time around the block now, but it worked. It can work. People
right.
like, I'm not taking my old friend back. But I never would thought in a million years that me and him would be in this place right now.
And Kamika, I'm gonna
Never.
tell you what's so crazy right now. As you're talking, the sun just went right through your window,
Yes.
right into here. I'm like, wait a minute. So there you go. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, the Lord just came through.
We
He's
just
like,
shining
there we
on this,
go.
right?
I was like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, but all this and really when we talk about relationships and building a foundation, that foundation has to be started in the form of a friendship. And it could be a long lasting friendship, it could be a new friendship, but it has to be a friendship because I
Mhm.
see a lot of people go, I want to get married. Yeah, I said that too, and I did. And I go back, I don't have any ill feelings towards my ex, but we
Right.
never established a friendship.
A friendship.
We met, we saw each other, we liked what we saw, and then we had a kid.
Hmm.
And then with that, we had, after having my son, it
Yeah.
was just kind of like, oh, what are we gonna do now? We
Yeah.
tried
What's next?
dating, we tried going our separate ways, and it was kind of like, oh, let's get married. But we
Yeah.
never took time to establish a friendship. And
Hmm.
and that's what I always say now. I said I recognize that was my mistake. I can't put it all on her. It was on me too. We should
Hmm.
have built that foundation. And I say going forward, the next relationship I'm in,
we have to establish a foundation of friendship because I want my spouse to be my friend. You know,
Exactly.
when I have good, bad times, and I have silly stuff that happened at school, bad stuff at school,
Mm-hmm.
driving down the street, she gonna hear it all. I'm sorry,
Hear it all.
but
Listen.
but but I'm an introvert, so you're gonna hear it all after I have some quiet time.
Yeah.
Because when I
Yeah.
get in the house, I might be like, "Hey, I just
I
want to be
need a
quiet."
moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been talking
Mm-hmm.
all day, but for real, you have to have that foundation because if you
You
don't,
do.
it's not gonna work.
It's
And I think
necessary.
we skip it because we're so visual. As people, we go, "Oh, she fine, he fine." We look at the fine and the assets that people
Mm-hmm.
have, or they work this type of job. But do you know their favorite color? Do you know what they like to eat?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what they wanted to be when they were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. It may seem minor, but it is
Yeah.
important
It's
because
not.
that's how you're
Mm-hmm.
going to get to know each other. You have to. Because that way,
Mm-hmm.
when you get married, you be like, "Yo, that's your spouse should
Yeah.
know you to the point that
Yeah.
if you start to wave, they can finish it off for you, and you're like, hey, and your spouse should be right there with you, you know, and that's how it should be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to connect together. You
Mm-hmm.
should be able to laugh together. You should be able to cry together when you have those moments. You have something important at work that you got to go to your spouse. You know,
Right.
but we sometimes we run our friends first.
Yeah.
No, don't go to your friends. Go to your spouse.
Yeah. And that's good. If I come in, I get quiet, or he just know my disposition. He knows
Right,
something wrong.
right.
And I was like, I'm good. He's like, talk to me. What's going on? What's wrong?
Yeah,
And that's what you're saying. Friendship. You should know the person to the point, like their character.
right.
You should know, like, they mood swings, and like, what's up with you? Like, they should pick it up immediately, because friendship, you should know one another to that point to where, like, hey, if somebody came to them and told you that Mark Mark just cussed the teacher out right in front of the students.
I wouldn't do that,
No,
y'all. I wouldn't do that.
because you got to know the character of a person.
Right. No,
You
I,
gotta know
I
the
might
character.
give them a dirty look, but I won't say anything after that.
Yeah, what you talking about, Willis? Yeah, yeah. You
But
gotta know the person.
right,
You do.
and that communication is so important. And people think communication is all verbal.
Mhm.
Blah, 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 blah. No, sometimes it's just words. Communication is paying attention to, like you said, body language, your demeanor, how you come
Mhm.
in, feeling the energy from you, and knowing that something's wrong, and
Right.
saying, "Hey, what's wrong?" And give you an opportunity to, if you say, "I'll talk about it later." Okay, cool. Give you time to
Mhm.
wind down, and then when you're ready to talk, you talk.
Right.
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be.
Right.
It
And
really
we gotta
should.
set realistic expectations. I feel like the world has taught us that
Mm.
when you find your spouse or your special person or that one you with, they got to make this amount of money. They got to look like this. They got to walk like this and talk like this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm a school teacher. I don't make a lot of money.
You
So if
don't
you
make
think
no money
you
like
got a
that.
gold mine over here, no, you might got some pyrite.
Uh-uh.
No,
Yeah.
we come with flaws. I mean,
Yeah.
people look for perfection. Look, I got vitiligo. If you don't know what it is this. It's not really a flaw. It's an imperfection on my skin, but it's not a flaw. But I have other things, other challenges. I don't think like you. And here's the truth. I do not want a woman who thinks and acts and walks and talks just like me. No, that's boring. No.
Mm-mm.
I want you to have your own mind. I want to have
You want
mine.
yourself.
Introduce me to your world. I'll introduce you to mine, and we can have some fun.
Yeah.
But no, if I'm gonna meet somebody like me, I might as well date me, and that's
Yeah.
no fun.
That's no fun.
Yeah,
Yes. That is
but
true.
yeah, and I don't get it. Like we have the expectations so high, but not realistic. Because I've seen relationships where I'm gonna use this: my mother and father.
Hmm.
My dad's a retired. He passed away, but he was a retired baker.
Hmm.
My mom worked at a university. Those are two different opposite ends of the spectrum. Somebody who works in the business office of the university that handles and takes care of money and all that stuff and worked with students, and a retired baker. But they were in love. They loved each other.
Everyone
They were
love.
married for 62 years.
Beautiful.
I couldn't even make it 5. but that doesn't mean that I can't have that opportunity to love
Right.
again. But I'm just saying, you look at people from the opposite ends of the spectrum and how they get together. We'll find out there are some true love stories that exist out there, and we have to be open to them, because sometimes we'll see somebody, we'll connect with that person, but we won't talk to them for certain reasons. She got short hair, I ain't gonna talk to her. She got a club foot, I ain't gonna talk to her. We just, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just saying that those are real things that people do. Or we hear this from our community. He light skinned. Yeah, I'm light skinned. So what? Get to know the person. I often say that. Get to know the person, who they are on the inside, value who they are, value what they do. Have those conversations and truly dig at the core. And one of the funniest conversations I've had, I've asked someone, well, tell me who you are. Not what you do for a living, but tell me who you are. And they couldn't get beyond work. I was like, dang, that's it? Like, all you have to offer is work. No, there's got to be more. Like, what are your desires in life? What are your hobbies, and what are things that just bring you joy when you go outside and look at the sunshine? What do you think? That's what I want. I want that deeper conversation.
Yeah.
Don't give it that. I know what you do for a living, and that's not guaranteed tomorrow. You might get fired.
Right.
Who are you after that? Yeah. And no, we're almost at the end. But let me say this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
When the pandemic hit, I think everybody was on the same playing field. Most of us were at home. We weren't working because our jobs are like, you ain't coming in. You're going to sit at home. You might still have a job. Some people lost businesses. Some people lost finances, and you had to start all over. And I was with another group discussion, and we were talking about that, taking the mask off, like dating during COVID. And you started fresh. Like, you couldn't go to somebody and say, hey, I know we have this pandemic thing and everybody wants love and everybody wants to be with somebody, but what you do for a living? I sit at home. What you doing? Yeah. What you doing? I'm sitting at home.
Yeah.
But it's a real thing, because even in that point of time, people were still desiring love, still desiring connection. And I think even now, although we do it very selfishly, we still desire the same thing.
Yeah.
To have that special person, to have that love connection, to have that one person to come home to hug on and kiss on. Because it's exhausted out here.
It is.
This dating scene, it is exhausting. Now, you're 47, right? Now, I'm gonna put it like this: I'm 52. Yeah, I said 52. But after 50, I don't know what happens. The dating scene changes. It is very challenging, and I know we get set in our ways sometimes, but I don't know. It's one of the questions is, at 50, where do you go to meet somebody? I'm not going to the church to meet somebody. Well, first of all, my church, I'm the youngest person there, probably. No, some more younger people, but we don't have that many people. It's not a dating pool there, and I'm not going there for that purpose. I'm going there to get some feel good and worship. I'm not going there to go, oh, who that? No, we there for the wrong reason. And I think about, where do people go to meet others? And online is one of the many ways. It has its pluses and minuses, because
yes, Lord,
when you see those profiles, I'm like, click, click, click.
Be mindful of the catfish too. The catfish and fake.
That is
fake
true.
Profiles.
And let me say this: I have met somebody who profile looked one way, in person they looked a different way, and it's like, you take good pictures. I mean, really, some people take very nice pictures. But when you see them, they're not who you expected or what you expected. Right. But I do feel like one of the pros is that, if you're talking to somebody virtually, you can set it up where you can have a video conference, video discussion, no filters. Say, take the filters off, and let's
Right.
talk. You can have those phone conversations also, and then kind of set up to meet that person on your time, you know. So there's some pros to it, but we know the cons also are the cons, pretty much,
Yeah.
because you don't know what you're getting into. Um, but Kameca, let me say this. I'm gonna say congratulations to you
Thank
and your
you.
future husband. And it's always exciting to see that those unions are still happening and people still getting married.
Yes.
And for single people out there, don't feel like your opportunity has passed you by. You could be 60 something and still get married. Love is love. And there's always somebody out there who wants to be a part of your life for the
Yeah.
right reasons, you know,
For
for
the
the
right
right
reasons.
reasons.
Exactly.
And you just have to be open and ready for it. And when it happens, you can't stop it. Sorry.
Mm.
When love hits, you can't stop that feeling. It vibrates all around, and it's like that sunshine that was coming through the window. It's like, and yeah, and it's strange because you don't sometimes you don't know what's happening. You're like, ooh, what's happening? I'm thinking about that person all the time. Ooh, I want to see that
Yeah.
person.
And all warm and fuzzy on the
Yeah,
inside, and
yeah,
butterflies in your stomach when you see them. Just,
right. And if it's not butterflies, you might want to go to the doctor and get checked out. But
yeah,
I'm just saying. But no, but seriously, those butterflies are real.
they
And
are.
and make sure it's for the right purpose. Because as we know, we're going into the holiday season. And some people are
Yeah.
like, oh,
Gets
they just
bad.
want to get with you because of the holidays and all that stuff. And love happens whatever it wants to happen. It could be Christmas, it could be Thanksgiving, it could be Easter, it could be Groundhog Day. You might run into somebody and be
Right.
like, hey, what's up? You know, oh, you looking at the groundhog too? You know, I mean, you just might have that connection. You just never know.
Right.
But you got to be ready for it
You
because that
gotta be
when
ready.
that love train pulls up, get on board.
It's gonna take you on that
Absolutely,
ride.
absolutely. Kamika, thank you for coming on and having this
You're
conversation.
welcome.
I
I
greatly appreciate
enjoyed
it.
it. I
Yeah,
really did
for
enjoy
my
it.
listeners, this is living life in love with vitiligo. We're not talking about vitiligo. I don't talk about that. But the love part is so important because it's a big part of our lives, you know.
Yeah.
And I like to have these discussions. I'm going to have another love relationship podcast. I have a
Mhm.
panel of about 10 people, and
Oh
we're
wow.
going to discuss surviving the holidays, the love edition.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because the holidays are tough, you know,
They
for
are.
single and married people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have older people, some younger people, couples, some single people, some divorced, some never married, just to really bring their perspectives. Three people on that discussion are therapists. So
Okay.
it's not just me and my friends talking about love. You know, I have a relationship therapist. One therapist deals with
Good.
I think domestic abuse, and the other one deals is just a licensed therapist. So
Mm.
I always like to have these discussions because we're people, we're humans, and
Alright.
I really want us to have conversations that builds us up as human beings. You know,
Mhm.
as you notice, I don't do all the attack and women ain't this, men ain't that, and we know there's some people out there that are garbage,
Yeah.
men and women. They are garbage. We know it.
Basically.
I don't know who they are because I'm not a trash man, so I ain't trying to deal with the garbage. No, but seriously, I appreciate this conversation. As I
I
always do with my guests. And you were going to say something. I'm sorry for cutting you off. See,
no,
guys,
no,
you
no.
could apologize too. It's okay. It's okay to apologize. I just did. Yo. Yeah.
No, 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 no. I was just saying I enjoy it. I love talking about my life. My thing is a lot of people don't like to expose themselves, but I believe that's the way to help people,
Right.
especially if you're not in the situation or you have overcame that situation. It's okay because you're not there anymore. So I just believe in sharing life lessons, life skills, just to help the next person because you don't know who may
Absolutely.
need to hear it,
Right.
see it, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I take glory in that. A lot of people are shameful of their past, but I embrace mine because it made me the person that I am today. I'm a lot
Absolutely.
wiser, I'm a lot stronger, and I feel better about myself. I'm more confident because I used to have low self-esteem. I dealt with, the spirit of rejection for a long time, thinking that I wasn't good enough.
Right.
But until I came to myself, I had to fall in love with me, and I had to know your worth. That's the thing. Know your worth. You are worth the love. You are worth the whatever in that relationship that you feel that you worth. You worth the time. You worth the money they spent. You worth everything,
Right.
because if they're approaching you and they want to be with you and they want to have a relationship with you, okay, they got to own up to that. Vice versa, women and men. You got to know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, that person's not going to respect you.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're not going to respect you. So therefore, that's why you have a lot of men and women manipulating people.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people get hurt, because they get that feel good and they say the right things and do the right things. But at the end of the day, you got to know your worth, and you got to have a discernment, as Mark was saying. You got to discern what is and what's not.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
it's camouflage. There are counterfeits out there. And
Yep.
I have had several to come, and they portray a certain way and say what they are and what they can do. And then when you get behind closed doors, it's something totally different.
Right. Right.
So they take the
Absolutely.
mask off, wearing masks.
Yeah. Hey, look, and it made me think about something. I want to view this podcast as something a little bit different. It's a book.
Oh, boy.
Every show I have is a different chapter in this book, because
Oh, wow.
everybody has a story to tell.
Yeah.
So this is chapter 16, and I don't know how many chapters are going to be in this book I call a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I have a guest, that's a new story. So like you said, it's going to be something that touches somebody out there, that's going to connect with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
change somebody's life. Somebody's going through the same exact thing, and we're going to give them some hope. So before I wrap things up, Kameca, can you leave our listeners with some words of encouragement, and then I will wrap this thing up.
Yes. Y'all heard everything that I said, and the only thing, like I said, just know your worth, know who you are, walk with confidence, and know that it's okay to love again, because after the hurt and pain and after you heal, you will have an opportunity for that right person to come into your life to love you like you needed to be loved. I didn't think in a million years that I would be getting married this soon, or just get married, period, because of everything I went through. I was just done with relationships. But there is another chapter to your story. And your story is not the end, where it didn't stop at divorce. It didn't stop at a breakup or a mishap. There's another chapter. And that story can be full of happiness, joy, peace, and love. So I encourage you guys just to keep loving you, and love will find you again.
Absolutely. Hey, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to get married soon. I'm kidding, y'all. I don't know. I'm joking. I'm not getting married soon, y'all, because I'm not even dating. So
hyping the people up. Listen, I do want to mention that I do have a podcast coming next year. I started it this past year, but it didn't go according to plan, because just trying to get people to tell me what to do, how to do things. But Mark has really inspired me to look, just do what you feel, just go with the flow.
Absolutely.
You ain't got to have all this gadget stuff. Just speak from the heart, and that's what I want to do. And the show is called Matters of the Heart. So just stay tuned. It's going to be on YouTube. We already got some things on YouTube, and it's Matters of the Heart. All right.
Okay. And I will have that built into this video, so you get to see information about that. But yeah, hey everybody, I was joking. I'm not getting married soon. I would love to get married again one day.
One day.
But before that, I have to build that foundation. I need that foundation.
Yeah.
Then I will trickle into that marriage stage.
Yes.
Because somebody gonna be out there. He said he was getting married soon, and look, it was a joke. So
you gonna have to call. I heard that you was getting married.
It's gonna be all over Facebook.
Yeah,
married. Yeah,
married, y'all. Mm-hmm. Inbox. Who you marrying? Where's she at?
Where's she at? What she look like? What's her name? Is it such and such? Is it this person? That person? Is it somebody we know?
Right.
Somebody we don't know? I'm like, yo,
somebody you don't know, because I don't know her yet.
it was a joke. Gosh, can't even joke on here. But no, but seriously. For the listeners, I thank you for tuning in. You have been listening to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I just want to say this, and I always say this on my podcast: make sure you love somebody. Love your spouse if you have one. Love your significant other. love your kids, read to your kids, and write with your kids, and read
Yes.
to them, read with them, and write with your kids. I'm saying this as a school teacher. Do that.
That's
Love
another
that.
podcast.
Yes. Oh, that's another story. Love that. Love that stranger that you just passed in the street, because we don't know what people are going through. You know, say hi, nod, head wave, do something. Acknowledge people. Love your coworkers. You know, even those that may not have the same viewpoints as you. You know, love people. And most of all, when you're loving everybody else, take some time to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you, because we don't do enough of that.
Right.
You have been listening to Living Life and Love with Vitiligo. I'm your host, Mark Braxton from Raleigh, North Carolina. Oh, yeah, I might have another little song or poem added to the end of this, so stay to the end. I'm always having a little fun. So, yo, take care. Kameca, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, I see you tomorrow morning.
Yes, I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. All right, yo, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and peace.
Peace.
Keep holding me down, baby. Keep on holding me deeper, deeper, and deeper, and deeper, and deeper. Holding me, keep holding me down, baby. Keep on holding me.
Two bodies intertwined. Your fingers laced in between mine. My heart and soul is yours forever, forever.
I can't sleep, I'm restless, my relenting desires for you. Your hugs, your love, your touch, your kisses, sweet as a honeydew. About last night, my body is needing you so much. Alone in my thoughts, baby, I need another round of your mystical touch. Stay with me forever, be my future queen. A reality too unreal at times, it feels like a fading dream. By the subtle touch of your hips to our eternal bliss, from the first touch of our lips to our everlasting kiss.
Deeper, deeper, and deeper, and deeper, and deeper. Holding me, keep holding me down, baby. Keep on holding me deeper, deeper, and deeper, and deeper, and deeper. Holding me, keep holding me down, baby. Keep on holding me.
Two bodies intertwined. Your fingers laced in between mine. My heart and soul is yours forever, forever.
I'll hold your hands, guide you in, come real close. The rebirth of our beating hearts is a mythic realm where true love grows. Keep your one body close to me, my dear. Arms around my neck, my hands on your lower back with no fear. If this is what love is supposed to feel like deep inside my soul, baby, never let go. Allow our love to overflow. Look into my eyes, kiss me, feel our hearts eternally mold. This is our mystical dance called the Ballad of the Rose.
Deeper,